I remember wondering why somebody who was not my mama was trying to tell me what to do. I remember wondering why my grandma was trying to tell me what to do. May her soul rest in peace. I'm sorry. But I would be like, you not my mama. Like, you can't tell me what to do. And in reality, as a child, you're just confusing this for control, but you're actually a part of a village that you have no idea about, right? So when I went too far on my bike, Mrs. Johnson, the lady at the end of the house, at the end of the block, last house, would tell me, turn around and go back. Don't tell me what to do. Like, why are you telling me what to do? You can't go to the park unless the big kids are available to accompany you. Then you get there and they telling you, don't run like that. Don't do that down a hill. Why are you telling me what to do? Right? But I remember specifically one time on my way to school, I was a junior in high school, and my nerd ass was reading a book as I was crossing the street, and I got hit by a car. Not hard. She was turning, I was walking. It was an impact, but I did fall. However, I say that to say the man on the corner that knew me from me going with my grandmother to play her lottery rushed outside of his store, came to my rescue like I was his child. Like, it was crazy. Like, I was honestly more shocked at him nearly than I was at the fact that I had gotten hit by a car. So I say that to say, like, a village is important, and every villager in the village is vital to the whole process of raising a child. People forget the other half of the slogan, it takes a village. To do what? To raise a child, which is so true now that I'm a mother. So, do you have a village of your own? And if so, what does your village look like? What does your village consist of? And if not, do you know where to start in order to build a village for yourself and for your children? So thank you for tuning into episode 5 of Mommy Monologues. It really does take a village. This episode is sponsored by none other than Killer Cocktails, the best curating business around. If you follow me on Instagram, please click the Linktree link in my bio. It takes you to everything that you need to know about me. My recipe books, Killer Cocktails Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter, Mommy Monologues, where you can download and listen to episodes. Everything that you need is right there in that link. So, first and foremost, the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. Where does that even come from? So doing my research for this episode, I learned that it originates from an African proverb, actually. And it conveys the message that it takes many people to provide a safe, healthy environment for children, where children are given the security they need to develop and flourish, and to be able to realize and recognize their hopes and their dreams. So after reading that, I realized that beyond that, it also requires an environment where children's voices are heard and taken serious, right? And that alone right there canceled out like a vast majority of our generation and even the generations before us, because we rarely watched our parents parent that way. And because of what we saw, it's rare that we parent that way either, right? So as a villager, when people ask like, okay, it takes a village to raise a child, what exactly are the responsibilities of a villager, right? So a villager, you have permission to care for, reprimand, and assist the parent in raising the child. You're responsible for this child just as much when the parent is present, and even more responsible for the child when they're in your presence, but their parent is not, right? So what exactly does villaging look like today? Okay. Unfortunately, it's not the same at all. The village today is just full of just broken homes, fragmented people who have isolated themselves, even from parenthood, have completely just disregarded what the children need, right? Social media driven, self-focused, just not honing in on what it actually takes to make sure that your child has a good life. So when you I see a lot in this generation, people pushing their kids off on other people, or completely just disregarding the fact that they have children altogether, right? So the importance of that on mental health takes a toll. So now your children grow up, they have their own children. They have not changed their ways. They're mirroring your ways. And it's just constantly going on and on and on until someone stops it and says, how do we change this? How do we get back to that place of villaging? How do we get back to that place of feeling okay to ask for help? Feeling okay accepting help? Feeling okay that people can see that we're struggling. I think that this perfection, this polished image that social media has created is taking us away from what is truly valuable. Okay. So no one is staying together anymore after the children, right? People weren't together before the children. So family breakdown, lack of presence, economic pressures, inflation, laborious work hours. This is all single-handedly contributing to families feeling less connected to their friends, their families, extended families, and their children. As mothers, we have lost the sense of value in community. Community is what makes you family, not blood. People are so hell-bent on saying, well, that's my cousin, that's my uncle, that's my auntie. Anyone will cross you. Anyone will not be there when you need them. Anyone will do anything, period. It's not blood related. It's just two people procreated and y'all all a product of that. Community is what makes you family, in my opinion. An important role in family is to provide, to love, to guide, to care for, and to support. And that is what community provides for you when you are involved in your community. And I say involved because a lot of people want help, but then when it comes to returning the favor, they act unable, or they simply don't want to because they don't know what it's like to be able to be in the position to lend a helping hand, right? So how we as mothers go about this is going to differ largely based on everything. I mean, culture values are different. Morale is different. Religious-based values are different. But I think that if we all, regardless of the difference, if we all focus on the educational, economic, and welfare resources, that's a common denominator. It doesn't matter about the cultural values. It doesn't matter about what you believe. It doesn't matter about whatever your values are. They should all have to do with the educational resources, the economic resources, and the welfare resources that everyone should have access to. So if everyone around you is assisting you in teaching your children the values, standards, and rules about relationships and social structures, it will allot for certain beliefs and practices to reflect in their values. I'm going to say that one more time. Y'all can rewind, but I'm going to say it again for my own effect, right? If everyone around you is assisting you in teaching your children the values, standards, and rules about relationships and social structures, it will allot for certain beliefs and practices to reflect the values, morals, and expectations of a healthy society, okay? All of these factors, every single last one of them, impact the family environment. And it informs us on how family members show their emotions, how they make decisions, resolve conflicts, how they interact with one another, and how they love and care for one another. So at the end of the day, what you put on display is what your children mirror. I see videos every day. I just saw one today, actually. Man and woman were getting married. Little boy was in his dad's arms. He couldn't stop telling his mom like how beautiful she looked. Like he was just like, "Mommy, you're so beautiful." He kept saying it over and over again. Do you think that little boy just got that out of thin air? No. I'm pretty sure, I can almost count on it, that he's mirroring the behavior that he sees from his father. And he's saying like, "Oh, that makes mommy happy. That makes her smile. I want to give her that same feeling. I want to do what daddy does." And it all starts literally at the root from home. Literally, they mirror us. I said in my last episode, sponges, see, hear, do. That's it. So lately there's been some online discourse. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but a lot of people have been saying that our parents and their generation never needed a break from us. Not the way that our generation needs a break from our children. And I saw that, and honestly, I just had to laugh, y'all. I really had to laugh because I think that a lot of people or parents now, like my age, 30, 35-ish, maybe 40, whatever, don't realize that our moms did not have to ask for a break. They needed them. It was just resources were so accessible that they did not have to ask for the break. It was just available. It was just there. Like community was in full effect. Camp was cheap. After school care was covered. Grandma was welcoming them kids with open arms because it was real grannies, not 40-year-old grandmas. It was like everything was funded. Community centers were like ran correctly. They were clean. They had multiple programs for everyone that you could possibly think of. Parks were safe. Church was mandatory. Like everybody and their mother in the neighborhood knew everybody and their mama's mama. It was just close knit. There was nothing that you could do on this block without this person on this block knowing and telling your parents. Like it was just community. It was a way to thrive by keeping everyone involved and leaving no one to feel like they got to do it themselves on their own. It just doesn't make sense the way that we are not picking up on the values and the path that was set for us, really. And I'm not to say like, oh, all of our ancestors and grandparents and all of their way of doing things was right, because that's far from true. But the one thing that they did get right and do their best to pass down to us was community, was village, was everyone being involved. I remember it like it was yesterday, and everyone was involved. Your teachers, everyone had a hand in making sure that you were headed in the right direction. So now we know that the idea of village and community is broken nowadays, right? What do we do to begin to fix it? What steps do we take to say, I got children now. I want my child's generation to be different. I want to set the tone for them so we can get back to the original way, right? So for starters, I think that we need to choose the village wisely. And think about what I'm saying. Village is not a location. It's not the house. It's literally what's surrounding you. So I think that people need to start looking less at what's in the home, the living area, and worry more about the space around the living area. So if that doesn't make sense, I'm saying that to say, like, instead of worrying about how big this house is, what neighborhood are you choosing this house in? Are the schools surrounding this house good for your children, or is this just a big house? It just looks like the house that you've wanted. Do you care about the education that your children will receive if you move to this neighborhood? Can they go to the park? The children that are around here, are they safe children? Are they children that you will want your child to be around, to grow up with, so forth and so on? So even if it's a city, a suburb, rural community, certain school, particular team, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, think about how this will impact and affect the future of your child. Point blank, period. Instead of worrying about, like I said, how big the house is, worry about how close the park is, how many classes the community center offers, right? Worrying about if you have a garage. Research the neighborhood. Do you know how many people move in neighborhoods and they don't even know that sexual assault, like, is around, like how many people that are on the sexual assault list live in your neighborhood? In mine, there are over 300 for sure. I know that for a fact. For a fact. So those are the things that you want to worry about. You're bringing children into a community. You want to make sure that it's going to have a positive impact on them. So letting the village in. I think that due to ego and pride and selfish ways, this is what probably will be the most difficult step for some people, because sometimes you do have to tell your business in order to pinpoint how to assist you. So for people to know in what areas you need help, sometimes you're going to have to spill a little tea about yourself. And I mean, this is not to say all of it. Like, you don't have to tell them that Malik won't stop cursing in school. You can just say, hey, my kid is evolving, learning some new words, and it's stressing me out. Like, it's stressing me out. All these kids go through phases. Get to know the other moms as moms. Then get to know them as people aside from their motherhood. Because at the end of the day, we're all in different environments. All our children are different. We're different. But sometimes the solutions that other people offer us, we can utilize, and they're actually perfect for our own personal situations as well. If we never let anyone else get involved in raising our children and teaching them and correcting their behavior, our children will never, ever, ever learn to respect other people, especially not other people's opinions. Okay? Someone could be telling them the right thing and they're not going to care because the only person that they've been taught to listen to is you or their parents, or at least no further than their immediate family. Because I've heard that too. If that's not your immediate, they don't gotta tell. But that's not true, because see, it takes a village. And you have to believe that everybody's not bad. So you have to believe that people are gonna lead your child in the right direction. They're gonna tell your child the right thing to do. Point blank, period. But if their mindset is just one-sided, just only your opinion, mom's opinion, dad's opinion, whatever, that's going to be a problem in the long run. When they get to school, when they start trying to build their own families, when they become when they get heavily involved in a social circle, whatever may have you, if they're only used to listening to you solely, always expecting that what you tell them is the right thing, it's going to be very hard for them to evolve. Very, very difficult. So lastly, I think, just right off what I just said, make sure your children know that the village exists. Okay? Please tell them that they have people that care about them. Tell them that they have people that you have watching them, making sure that they're making the right decisions, making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do, making sure that they're staying the course. Let them know that they can rely on this village as well. Let them know that if they ever need help, assistance, anything, and you're not around, these are people that they can go to and expect to get the same effect. If not better, you just never know. Sometimes when your kids detach from you and listen to someone else, they get a better view of whatever. Sometimes it's just when we're talking to them, it just automatically doesn't make sense to them. But sometimes when other people step in and they come with a different perspective, it helps change our child's view. So make sure that they know that there's people that they can depend on. You don't want your child to be confused or worse, disrespectful, right? So Mr. Jones telling him what to do and how to do something, you want him to take that in. And I think that this is the most important part, in my opinion, because this is where we realize, like, yes, it takes a village with parents helping parents. But then we got to raise a child where children have to be aware that other people are assisting in their growth. So they can be thankful and they can be grateful. But not just that, like I said, so they can know that if their parents not around, they still have somebody else that they can depend on. So remember to actually give them time with the village, right? I personally am one of those people where I feel like, and that's probably because my grandma was one of those people. My grandmother would like send us to check on neighbors, or like take neighbors' stuff, or like, hey, their paper's sitting out here, go ring their doorbell and give it to them, or carry their groceries, shovel their snow, cut their grass, whatever the case may be. That's how you put your child in the position to be grateful. They might not be able to do all the big things, and they can't assist with the big things, but as a child, you can definitely put your child in a position to be helpful to the point where they understand what it means to lend a hand. Seriously. Then your child grows up to be a villager that someone can depend on. So we can mold and we can educate our children into exactly who we desire them to be by putting on display the correct behavior for them to mirror, right? Okay. So speaking of mirror, today, mommy's mirror. This reflection today is honestly going to be a thank you to my family and to my friends for always being in my corner concerning my daughter. Never, ever, ever wavering, never, ever, ever playing with her. Sometimes I don't even get the opportunity to ask for the help or the assistance or the comfort. They're just there. And I'm talking about, yes, some of my friends do have kids. Most of them don't, though. So these are women that I'm talking about are childless. These are women that are showing up for my kid as if she were their own. These are women that I'm talking about like, hey, what's she doing? She got a party. We're going out. And I'm not invited. I'm not invited. This is not for me. This is their thing. And I don't think that they understand the impact of them thinking about her. Because I'm always thinking of her, right? That's my job, though. That's not their job. And they still take it upon themselves to show up and show out for my kid. So this is a shout out. You ladies know who you are. I don't have to name drop. I appreciate you all immensely for everything that you all have done for the past 5 years, even before that, but especially as a figure in her life. Like, I cannot say thank you enough. And then to my mom. As a single mom, it is not easy at all to show up for our children. But my mother has always been the person who saw exactly when I needed a break. Even if I didn't vocalize it, because like I said, it's hard to ask for help. I went through a lot the first year of my baby's life, feeling like I should not ask for help. I did not deserve to ask for help because I put myself in this position. And of course, I will talk about that later, where you get out of that mindset. But I know that my daughter is the reason I'm not in jail, right? But I'm pretty sure that my mother is the reason I'm not in a straitjacket. Her just being who she is has saved my life over and over again, multiple times. So, Mom, this is a shout out to you. Thank you for who you've been, because it's allowing me to be the mother that I am. I appreciate you still being there for me, even though I'm an adult. I appreciate you not letting adulthood disconnect us, because, hey, you grown, you make your own decisions, and that's cool, but you still there. And I appreciate that. I'm going to move on so I don't cry, okay? So, like I said, it gets tough sometimes, okay? We don't even get to pause. We don't even get to pause sometimes and realize how tough it actually gets. And then when we do, we get hit like a ton of bricks, right? Because we're so afraid to just ask for some assistance, ask for a break, ask for some help. We don't want people to know that something ain't right. But in reality, everybody knows that already, because everybody is going through something. So imagine everybody going through something and everybody having someone to help them through that something. That's the village. We're all human. Everybody needs somebody. I want to be the person personally who can provide my resources if I have them. I want to be the person to lend a helping hand. I want to be the person to invite someone into my village if they simply just don't have one. That is what motherhood has made me want to be. Because I want that for my child, right? It might sound crazy. It might sound a little weird too, but I think that that's simply because we are not used to that. We're growing up in a different time. We're growing up in a different age. We're growing up like moms are single out here, okay? We're not forced to marry the man. We're not forced to stay in the household because we don't have anything. But at the end of the day, we also lose that value in family when we have to dissipate. So to fix it, it's not all about you and the father being together. It's not all about that. It's about outside of that, your village. It could still work, even though it didn't work between you two. But you have to want that for yourself. I'll be honest. We need to get back to the values that our ancestors created for us to thrive, okay? The values as mothers they were trying to implement as we were going into girlhood, womanhood, eventually motherhood. They was trying to tell us. And we spent a lot of time looking at it as what we're not going to do for someone else, whether it was a man, somebody who can't do something for you, or whatever. And that carried on, and now we looking kind of crazy. We're looking a little crazy. So I just want us to just make a U-turn. We've definitely lost our way. There's no hope for these children if we don't find our way. No way for them to feel seen. No way for them to feel heard. No way to show them the right path. We're barely on it. So if we don't change the narrative, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing that these children can do at all. So what will we do to change things, guys? What will we do to take those necessary steps to create that village in your community? Are mothers ready to talk about our struggles and stop portraying like it's perfect? Will we share the village that we already have if somebody needs it? Will we be the helping hand that we wish we had? Will we teach our children the importance of looking out for the elderly and for making sure that children are safe? Is that the values that we're going to instill in them? Or are we going to teach them that they ain't got to worry about nobody else? Because as crazy as this world is, I get it. You want your child to focus on them because it's a crazy world out here. So the first thing that you want to tell them is don't worry about other people. Focus on you. But nobody's going to get to the plateau that we're trying to reach with that mindset. They might. Your kid might. And I mean, if that's enough for you, then that's cool. But if we being a part of a village is thinking about everyone, that's the point in community. So, what kind of village do you want on display for your children? If you're watching this video right now, please think about it. Then let me know in the comments on the interactive post. So that's Mommy's Mirror. And those who can relate, please tap in. And if you can't, please like, share, comment, and send it to someone who can. I appreciate you all always for tuning in and listening. So thanks for listening to episode 5 of Mommy Monologues. It really does take a village. I'll see you guys next week because I got to go be a mom.